I can start now?
Yeah, I have a few things to get.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So, just a general announcement that we always make is that we want to have everybody as much as possible on the WhatsApp system. My number is 647-272-9873. If you want to be part of the Pnimis Toronto WhatsApp group, send me a message if you're not already part of it, and we will add you, and then you'll know when a shir is happening, when it's not happening at special events, etc., etc. Okay. I have a question for everyone. The question is that we know that the system of numbers that we have, going, let's say, from 1 till 10, right?
Not from 0 to 10, because the difference.
Okay. 10 is also 10 is a 1 and a 0, so you can go either way, 0 to 10, 1 to 10.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. What is the root of that? Why do we have that system of numbers from 1 to 10? Does anybody know? Yes.
I think it's a good idea for me to suggest that there's the difference.
That is good, but there's something that happened earlier than the difference.
Before that, 10 markers.
10 markers is also you're on the right track, but we need something earlier. Shviras.
Not just that. Before Rishis, there was nothing. So there was zero. Zero didn't exist.
Right. So that doesn't count. But what Khalil said is 10 shviras.
Right.
So it's an amazing thing that we had said. I mean, the earliest that we see that there are 10 shviras kamusois be'ein sof, that would be the earliest point that we ever see 10 shviras. 10 very, very hidden shviras kaviyachol in ein sof. And I have to mention, I don't want to bore everybody, but we cannot be megashim, right? We cannot think of these things in physical. They are literal, but not physical. Okay, so when we say that there's 10 shviras kamusois the Ein Sof, there are 10 very hidden spheres in Ein Sof. It means very, very hidden. We gave examples of what that means, hidden. And everything is kaviyachol, because we're talking about the highest thing now. But yes, that is correct. That because in Hashem, in his essence, kaviyachol, we have such a thing called 10 spheres kamusois, 10 very hidden spheres. That is going to be the shorish of 10 for everything. So any time that we use the number system from 1 to 10, that is the shorish of that. So anytime, we count anything. We count money, we count people, we count, anything that we count, we're using that. The root of that is the Esesirius Kmusas Be'ensof.
Wow.
And not only that, but if you take the shorish of the word svira, what is the shorish of the word svira?
Sefer.
Sefer is, so there's different explanations.
Sapar, count.
Oh, sapar, so that's the one that I want.
Sapar, cut hair.
Okay, right. So all these things probably have to do with a different meaning of what the spheres really mean. But over here, what you said, the second thing that you said is the correct answer.
Counting.
That sphere itself means to count. Sphere itself means to count. So that's not a coincidence. So that's how we count. We use these 10, this system of 10 to count.
And we use our 10 fingers.
Yes, and that is true. And you made a joke, but the reason why there are 10 fingers in the highest reason, or from the highest reasons, would be because you have these 10 very hidden spheres in Ein Sof Kaviyachol, and therefore solidifies all the way down here in this low world of Asiya, into 10 fingers and 10 toes. As a matter of fact, it even says that when a person makes the bracha hamoitzi, right? In the bracha of hamoitzi, there are 10 words. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamoitzi lechem min haaretz. 10 words. And it says, al pi halacha, that when you make that bracha, you're supposed to be holding the lechem, the bread, with 10 fingers. All these things are the root of all this is the Esrei Shviras. And as we get further in Yitz Hashem, in this limit, you're going to see that whatever we have down here, there's always going to be a root up there in the highest places. Always. You just have to be smart enough or understanding enough to figure out where that root is. Anything we see here, what's the root in Shemai?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you're gonna do challah hamotzi on Friday night,
right?
Did you take off the cover before you pick them up with you're talking about?
This is just a side question. What?
It's just no. It's kind of related because you're talking about picking up the challah with 10 fingers.
However you do it, whether the cover, some people do it while the cover's on.
Correct. I want to know what's
There's
correct.
different minhagim for that. Some do cover on, cover off, but the main thing is 10. Says brought down in halacha 10 fingers. Okay, but I don't want to get.
Sorry
about
that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, we're going to continue in our sefer. We keep trying to get past this point. We keep getting held up. So I want to move past this point so we can finish up this second hakdama, and then we're going to do a lot of explaining. Okay, so this is where we are now. We are on page Chavvav. We're on page Chav Zayin, in the middle section, from the words Vegam. Okay, again, page Chav Zayin, Vegam. Vegam b'zeh kav. Now, we said, again, there is a mistake in this sefer, and I said I discussed it with Rabbi Mandelovich, who's doing an amazing job at putting together all this Sifsei Chein svarim. But there is a mistake. Well, the mistake over here is he bundles up the kav with Adam Kadmoin together in one bundle as if it's one thing. And he said this is a mistake, and I said it before, in the next edition of Yitz Hashem, this will be corrected. So now I'm just going to read it through the way it was written, but I'll explain to you what's what. The Gambazeh kav hanikra ak. So he says this kav is going to be called ak. That's not. It's first the kav, and then from the kav develops Adam Kadmoin, which the short form for that is ak. Hagamshu rak nitzutz echad me'or ein sof. Even though this kav is just one, he calls it a spark of the ein sof. In kol zeh lefisha dayin yesh bo yisroin or the efshar lehabria these kaim me'or agadol lachein heir Hashem yisbarach es or hakav b'shnei efanim tzimtzim al yidei tzinor kadei lahaktin es toikef or kidla halan. Okay, so the first thing he's saying is that because surrounding the makom pani is all ein sof, so this line or this kav that comes in is actual ein sof that's coming in, and the reason that this has to happen in this way, that it's just a line, is because this ein sof is energy, this Ein Sof or is light is so powerful, we have to minimize it in order for it in order to gain from it. Because the light of the sun, so the Ein Sof is compared, let's say, to the light of the sun. That's one comparison. The sun is all encompassing, all burning, all destroying. So you can't build anything in the sun. So we're taking a little ray, so to say, of the sun, bringing it into the Makom Pani, and then we can work with it. And then we can do something with it, because it's not the full blast, it's just a minimal part of that full blast. So he says two things. Aleph, shaloi, why do we do this? Why is this? Aleph, shaloi yetze kol toikef or hanitzit shebifnim rak chelechat katan mimeni derech lekavim v'chaloinos. So again, he's mixing the kav and adam kadmon. What he's saying is, what he means to say is that the kav comes in, creates Adam Kadmoin, we spoke about that, and then there's going to be another, what this is, you're seeing here a system of filters, okay? So the thing in all its strength is Ein Sof, which surrounds the halal. Then the kav comes in, so you're already filtering it a little bit. Then Adam Kadmoin is created, that's another filter. And now we had said, and again, we cannot be megashim, we cannot think of these things in physical ways, but we said that in Adam Kadmoin, you have something called einayim, eyes, chotem, a nose, oznaim, ears, peh, a mouth. These oiris are going to come out of these, I guess you call them orifices or openings of Adam Kadmoin. Oiris will be coming out of the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, kaviyachol of Adam Kadmoin, and or will come out, and that's another filter. Okay, because it's not Adam Kadmon himself, it's what comes out of Adam Kadmon. So now it's another Madrega. And that's the system, that all this ore has to be filtered very, very slowly until all of the systems can be created, all the worlds. So we said there's 5 major worlds, but really every one of those worlds has billions of worlds, sub-worlds. So all this has to be filtered and filtered and filtered and filtered till things can be created. So then he says, base, after the ore comes out of the covenant, samtim oid yosev in his ava, ad shehugvel esoich eser kelim and nikroim eser shviras. Okay, he's skipping. A lot of stages are skipped over here, so I'm going to have to fill in some of the blanks. What's going to happen now is that the ore of the shviras are going to leave the different places of Adam Kadmon. Okay, and what's going to happen is that shviras are going to be coming out actually from the ears, the oznaim of Adam Kadmon, from the choitem, the nose of Adam Kadmon, and the peh, from the mouth of Adam Kadmon. So different shviras are going to be come out of these different places, and they're going to. Now, I have to tell you, I'm making it very simple. Okay, this is a giant sugya in Eitz Chaim. Okay, in the Arizal, the sugya of the shviras coming out of Adam Kadmon, and then shviras hakeylim, which we're going to get into now. This is a massive sugya in Eitz Chaim. It's massive, and the whole world is dependent on this, on what happens there by shviras hakeylim. So I'm making it extremely. No one should think that the way I'm saying it now is really. It's much too simple the way I'm saying it. It's much more complicated than that. In Yetz Hashem, we'll get into a little bit more detail. And in Yetz Hashem, if anybody, once we get through the Sefer, if anyone wants to go further, you'll go further. And you'll see it's much more detailed than the way I'm saying it now. But just to give, the way we have to learn this limit is we have to learn it very basically, and then we start broadening the horizon. So shviras are going to be coming out of the oznaim, ears, choitem, nose, pev, mouth of Adam Kadmon, and they're going to come out. And when they come out, because they're coming out of Adam Kadmon, so Adam Kadmon is a very, very spiritual place, a very ruchniistic place. That's a big understatement. So once they come out of Adam Kadmon, they're going to get more solidified. They're going to become more, the way that it's expressed in the Svarim is obvious. They're going to become thicker. These oiras, again, it's all ore, it's all light. But when you talk about this limit, you're going to see that the higher lights are called very, for lack of a better word, they're thin, they're very, in other words, they're extremely spiritual, let's put it that, it's all spirituality. And as the oiras come out, so they're going to gain more thickness. It's I don't know, for lack of a better word, coarseness. Thank you, Rabbi Giselson. They're going to become more coarse. Now again, we're talking now in extremely high spiritual places. So I'm going to say thick. I'm going to say coarse. Chas v'shalom. We cannot imagine these things in a physical way. But our mind works the way our mind works. We say a word like that, that's how we understand it. So the oiras, when they come out of Adam Kadmon, will become more coarse or more thick or more, I'm afraid to use the word, but I'm going to say more gashmius. Not that they're physical, but they're a step closer to the physical than they were before, when they were inside of Adam Kadmon. Let's put it that way. So these oiras come out, and now you're going to have, and they get thicker, and these are going to be called kelim, okay, vessels. And we spoke about this a little bit last week. Let's say you have a kli of the highest kli is going to be called, of the highest sphere is going to be called the kli of keser. Now you're going to need the ore of keser to enter the kli of keser. Okay, so confusing? It's confusing?
So it's confusing that the kli is made of the ore already.
Yes! That is exactly true. You heard what he said? He said...
That's not the only thing that's confusing, but that's why I was shaking my head.
That's what you're saying, yeah. No, but you have to understand, this process of the oiras coming out of Adam Kadmon is a process that creates kelim and oiras. Mm-hmm. And so, like we had said it before, that everything in this world is kelim and oiras, right? Every time you make a cup of coffee, etc., or anything that we do. We said it already many, many times. When I said it the first time, I said it because the makampani we view it as a keli or a kli, and the kav as the or coming into the kli. Hang on a second. But now we're actually talking. That was like kind of the theoretical of the kli and the or. But now we're actually talking about a real creation, which is going to become a kli and or. In other words, it's the next step down. That it's not just the makom pani that's an enormous kli that contains all existence, but now in existence we're actually going to have a kli. So let me just I'll let you ask. But so what's going to happen is a sphira called Keser, the highest one, will come out of Adam Kadmoin, and because it's out and it goes to a lower place on the body of Adam Kadmoin, Kaviyachol, it becomes more thick or more coarse or more closer to physicality, but not physical chas v'shulam, and it will become the kli of Keser. Okay, it will become the vessel of Keser, and then what will happen is an or will come out again of Adam Kadmoin, and will enter that kli, and then you'll have a kli of Keser, and you'll have an or of Keser, and that together will make the or and kli of Keser. That's the theory of it, and that will happen to all 10 spheres. When that's the beginning of creation of the world. So, okay, you wanted to ask something?
I wanted to add. I think a way that I'm thinking about it now that maybe helps it make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Is that instead of thinking about a kli and or as two different substances,
right?
It's more just the relationship. What status of the relationship? Like the kli is still or potentially or started.
It is right,
but its relationship is not assuming the role of or anymore.
That is correct.
It becomes now it's assuming the status of kli.
Excellent. I just thought of a different mashal. It's probably not my idea. I probably saw it somewhere. But let's take water and ice. So it's the same water. But some of it has become frozen, has become coarser or thicker, right? And you can theoretically have a kli that could hold water. Yeah, eventually it would melt, but we're not going to take the mashal that far, okay? But there you have it. Ice and water is the same substance, but it can be a kli and or at the same time.
Can I add something here?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What I think one of the ways that helps us understand this also is that kelim in Kabbalah, Urs and kelim are things that represent the limiting of the light and bringing it to a lower level so that it can be received. Kelim are things that and why does the or go into the keli but it didn't before? Because the or above that can't go into that keli. It stays up. You make a new keli that's on a lower level, and now the or can come down on a lower level so that the lower level can receive.
Excellent.
So really, in mashmais, the kelim are really bringing down and slowly step down, transforming the light into a way that the lower levels are able to receive.
There you go. Again, so what Rabbi Gislin just said is it's the same system of filtering. Everything that we're talking about, this is how the whole thing works. That everything has to be filtered down to a level that we can gain from it, we can use it, we can benefit from it. Yeah, someone wants to say something?
Now, when Hashem spoke the world into existence, is the speech itself considered or?
You could certainly say that. And you have to understand also that when Hashem spoke the world into existence, everything that we're discussing now was happening. Everything that we're discussing was happening when Hashem was saying Yehi or everything that you'll see in the Psukim and Bereshis, yes. But I think what you said is correct. I would agree with that. Okay, so let's keep reading. Let me start base again. Okay, on Chaf Ches. A third way down, we're going to write in the middle. We're going to read again base. She'achi yitzias chelak ha'or me'akav nesamtzim oid yosef nes'ava ad shehugva l'soich eser kelim and nikroim eser svir. So he's even though it's not written in a clear way and there are mistakes, but he means to say that outside of Adam Kadmon will come these 10 shviras and they will become 10 kelim. Ha'oimdim b'madrega zu lematim mizu. We're going to explain this in a minute. They're going to be one on top of the other. Va'or nishba mikli echad lechaveiroi. The ore is going to project down from one keli to the next. Ibechol kli nistamsem ha'or me'at yoiser. And with every kli, the ore will get more tzimtzum. Will get more what's the word, gentlemen? Constricted. So now again, we're talking about constrictions and filters, because the shviras themselves are filters. Okay, because Kesser is the highest one, and then comes Chachma, and then comes Bina, and then comes Chesed. Right. So every time that it's going that way, it's another filter. So the 10 shviras are 10 filters. By the time you get to Malchus, that's the smallest of all of them. That's how it works. Now let's keep going. The Yuvan al derech mashal, and you can understand this from a mashal. Now, right here, actually, I want to go to Yud Gimel. At the top, we're going to go now to the commentary. So I'm going to try to show it on the video up here. Okay, so Yud Gimel, up here at the corner, where it says mashal. Okay, so I just want to read this now. Mashal. Mashal hazeh muva b'mesilas chachma. This mashal is brought down in the sefer called Mesilois Chachma. Mehabakubal Helaki Rabbi Meir Paprish Zichroinu L'chai Olam Haba. Now I'll just tell you who was Rabbi Meir Paprish. It's important that if you're learning this, you should know who is who. Of course, the most famous Talmud of the Arizal is, of course, Rav Chaim Vital. When Rav Chaim Vital passed away, his son Rav Shmuel Vital took all of the ksavim of his father, Rav Chaim Vital, and he started to organize them. And that was one level of organization. And then he had a Talmud, Rav Tzemach, Yaakov Tzemach. Yaakov Tzemach actually was a Marano, believe it or not. He says he first put on tefillin in his 30s. Can you imagine? And he became like the Gadol Hador in Kisvei Arizal. So he was a Talmud of Rav Shmuel Vital himself, and Rav Meir Paparish was a Talmud of Rav Yaakov Tzemach. And some people say it's pronounced Rav Meir Poppers. In other words, Paparish, it's a sheen. So usually a sheen, we put the dagish on the right side, but some people say the dagish is actually the dot is on the left side, and it's poppers. Some people say that's how the name was pronounced.
Why is the dot on the other side?
It's not. There's no dot at all. So most people call him Rameir Paparish, but I saw that it could be the name is really poppers. So he wrote many svarim, and also, by the way, he had a lot in his Torah. He took a lot of Torah from the derech of Rabbi Yisrael Siruk. So I'm going to keep reading. So in that sefer, Shehetik Vegila Sifrei Maran Harizal, in that sefer, he copied down, and he was Megala the books of the Arizal. It means the Torahs of the Arizal that Rav Chaim Vital wrote down. L'ora Olam. He brought them into the light of the world because he edited them, and from him, they made many manuscripts. So that was like the first step of getting all the material out. The ayin b'morei nayim, and then you can see in Sefer Morei Nayim, which is from Rav Nachum Chernobyl, who was a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov. Arichas nifla b'inyan zeh. He will explain an amazing thing on this mashal. Okay, so let's get to the mashal. So now let's go back into the middle. The Yuvan al derech mashal. So this is the mashal that Rav Meir Paparish brought down. The Or HaShemesh, like to the mashal is like this: the light of the sun, Hameira L'Soich Habayis. So the light of the sun is shining into the house, Betoikef Gadol, with great strength. The light is coming in very, very strong into the house, through the windows of the house. Ad she'i efshar lahabed ba. Let's say through the openings in the house. So there's windows, let's say, without glass, and the light from the sun is so strong that you can't. It's blinding. You can't do anything with this light. The oz menichen chaloinois sevim. So what is the eight? So what do? You put stained glass windows, different colors, oy shchoirim, or black windows. Echad lematem echavera, and one window alone won't necessarily do the trick. So again, you don't usually see it this way, but it's a mashal. So he's saying the light of the sun is so strong that a person could put one stained glass window that will minimize the sunlight a little bit. Then he'll put another stained glass window in front of that. It'll minimize it also a little bit more, and he'll do that many times until finally that powerful light can be minimized and it can be enjoyed and used. Kedei shekol echad yitzamtzein, each window will be mitzamtzein, will constrict the yaktin and make smaller as haor, the light, ad sheyiyu yecholim lihanois mimenu, until we can enjoy the light. That's the mashal. Kal v'choimer be'elif alfei alafim havdalos. He says a massive kal v'choimer when be'or ha'elyoin yizborach shemoy. When we're talking about the great light of Hashem Himself, that's what we're talking about here. Shehutzrich litzamtzemoy be'eser tzimtzumim. Hashem's light had to be constricted 10 times in order for us to be able to use that light. Now let me just finish the sentence. V'heim ha'eser kelim shenivri bichdei lekabel es oyer hagadol. And these are the 10 kelim in order for us to be able to enjoy His great light. Now, any time you're going to see these eser shviras, each time it's always going to be a filtering system. Okay, until we get to where we're coming now, which is going to be. We keep going. Okay, turn the page. We're on Lamed Beis now. Ve'eser kelim halalu nikroim b'shem olam hanekudim. So this is already much more advanced language in the Arizal. It's called, but I'll just tell you what he says here now. These 10 shviras, these 10 kelim that we now have, these vessels, are going to be called the world of nekudim. Nekudim means dots. Why? Kivan, because, flip the page, we're on Lamed Daled now. Kivan shahem bebechinas nekudois ketanois negro oragadol. Because these 10 kelim, these shviras that came out of Adam Kadmon, because they are so small compared to the great ore where they're coming from, we call them nekudois, points. Ibahem nasis shviras hakelim, and what's going to happen to these 10 is going to be something called shviras hakelim, kasher yivur lahalan b'siyata dishmaya, as we will be explain coming up with the help of Hashem. And now we're going to get into Hakdama Gimel, shviras hakelim. So before we get there, I'm going to explain to you very bekitzer what happened in shviras hakelim. Okay? Now the first, like I said, shviras hakelim is a massive sugya in Kisvei Arizal. A very big, how do you say sugya in English? Very big parsha. That's a very big topic. Thank you, topic. I'm really minimizing it now. I'm saying it's very bekitzur. Okay? So you're going to have like this. You're going to have that when the shviras came out of Adam Kadmon, I'm going to make one of my little diagrams again.
If there's anything.
Okay, so here's the diagram. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it looks like I got it in the video. So this is, now, I didn't label them, maybe I should, but I can just tell you. So it's Keser, Chachma Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoyd, Yesod, Malchus. So the first 3 kelim that came out in this way, like a segel, like a triad, you would say. But the other 7 that came out, what am I? Yeah, the other 7 that came out one on top of the other. Okay, and this is going to present the problem. So I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to make it very, very simple, but I'm oversimplifying it. But I just want everyone to get the idea. So basically, when these spheres came out of the oznayim, ears, choitim, nose, and peh, mouth of Adam Kadmoin, kaviyachol, and we cannot be megashem. When they came out, so the Or of Keser came out, and it was over here. The Or of Chachma came out, and it positioned itself over here. Or of Bina came out, positioned itself over here. And then these other ones positioned Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, one on top of the other. Okay? They came out, and they became kelim. They became vessels. Now we have the kelim outside of Adam Kadmoin, and the kelim have to get full of Or. Okay? Now again, I'm oversimplifying it, but let me just tell you basically what happened. What happened was, now, this is extremely important, I have to say this also. What you're going to see happen is there's going to be kelim, okay? There's going to be something called the shvira, the breaking of shviras hakeylim, right? You'll see it all the time in Chassidish Sfarim. The breaking of the kelim, and then Hashem is going to fix the kelim, okay? Now, and that's going to be called, the first way is called the olam hatoihu, okay, the olam of confusion, and then it's after the kelim are fixed, it's going to be called olam hatikun, the olam of fixing, the fixed kelim. Now, you have to be very, very careful, because what it sounds like is chas v'shulam, but I'll just say what it sounds like. Hashem chas v'shulam tried it, made a mistake, whoops, it broke, okay, now I got to fix it. Chas v'shulam. Okay, it's not that way at all. And you're going to see, this is a whole sugya, this is a whole parsha, but the whole world works like this. The whole world works that we start off broken and we get fixed. Even when a person is born, okay? A man is born with an orla, with a foreskin, okay? He's born broken, so to say. He's born not perfected. And we have to take a bris milah and perfect him. And you're going to see that the whole world works like this, okay? The first Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, and the second one is destroyed. And we have to now come, and it has to be fixed. And the luchos are created and destroyed, and then there's a second one. And you're gonna see that it's impossible now to talk about all the ramifications of what we're talking about, but this example of shviras hakeylim is the whole world works on this. The whole history works on this. It says in Parshas in the Gemara in Sanhedrin in Perek Chelek that the whole world, the society will be destroyed entirely, and then Mashiach will come and he'll fix it. And so the way we're born, we're born into the world. We're selfish, right? We're born with all the bad midas. We're selfish. We're angry. We want, we need, we demand. This is us. This is how we're born. The reason we're here for 120 years is to fix ourselves. Okay? The whole reason why the world works in this way is because of this sugya that we're going to talk about now, called shviras hakeylim. Okay? So it's going to start, something's going to start broken and get fixed.
So that picture you showed us, is that tohu?
Yes, this is going to be tohu. Yeah, this is going to correct. This is going to be called the olam hatohu. Correct. The world of confusion.
That it looks kind of like a person.
That also, it kind of does look a little bit like a person, but when it's going to get fixed, it's going to look more like a person. Yeah, Exactly. So basically, this is what happens. Okay, new oiros will come out of the eyes of Adam Kadmon. Okay, so what we said till now was the oiros that became kelim came out of the ears, the nose, and the mouth. Now new oiros are going to come out of the eyes, kaviyachol, of Adam Kadmon, and those are very, very pure, high oiros of the spheres. Okay, it's probably not a coincidence. I'm sure it's not that these oiros are coming out of the eyes, Because let's face it, the eyes are the windows to the mind, right? The eyes are the windows to the mind, right? What you see through your eyes gets processed in your brain. Now, the truth is, what you smell and what you hear and what you speak is also getting processed, but the windows
light.
to your... Oh, sorry?
This is the only thing that processes light.
Processes light. Also, excellent point. So, I don't know if it says this or not, but it probably... I don't think I'm making this up. If these oiras are coming from the eyes, there's a reason for that, because the eyes are the windows to the soul, the windows to the mind, the windows to the brain, right? So these very, very high lights, oiras, come out of the eyes, kaviyachol, of Adam Kadmon, and they come, and they all enter as a group, so there's 10 of them.
Oh, so up until now we had no eye light, and that was what came out of it, that picture.
What do you mean eye light? What do you mean eye light? Kalim.
From the ears, nose...
Nothing came out of the eyes till now,
So
correct.
his nose and mouth created the...
Yes. Yes.
Toe thing.
Yes. And it's also interesting, by the way, someone can tell me it medically, but ears, nose, and throat is a system in what do you call that? What it's called?
An ENT?
ENT?
Ear, nose, and throat doctor.
Ear, nose, and throat doctor. Okay. Where does all this stuff come from? This is where this is all coming from. That the ears, the nose, and the mouth, or the throat, is all one system. Okay, that's because the oiras first came, and the more coarser oiras came out of Adam Kadmon from those three places, not from the eyes. The eyes are a totally different system. Everything means something. Everything in this limit means something. Okay, the oiras come out of the eyes basically in a group of 10, okay? And they enter first Keser, okay? And they enter Keser, and they enter Chachma, and they enter Bina. Now, everything turns out fine on this level for two reasons. Number one, these three spheres, I didn't really draw it that way. These three are called the Moichin, Chachma, Bina, Das, or let's say right now, I don't want to confuse, let's say Keser, Chachma, Bina. Okay? They're actually bigger than these other 7. They are bigger Kalim. It happens to be this way. Again, the higher it is, theoretically, the bigger. So, just to give you an example, in a human body, how are we doing? We're doing okay. In a human body, so Chachma, Bina, Vadas, or Keser, Chachma, Bina, these are all in your head. Right? We say Keser is the skull. In certain Erech, in Keser is the skull. And Chachma and Bina would be left brain, right brain. Some people say the space in between is Das. That's in your mind. Right? That's the most critical part of your body. And then it moves down. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yisoid, Malchus. The rest of your body represents the other 7. So the highest parts are in the top. For that reason, the highest parts are also bigger. Okay, so these top 3 spheres were bigger than the other 7. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, the fact that they were positioned in this way, okay, it's kind of like, there's an expression there, it's a pasuk, v'chut ha'meshulash einoi b'mehera yanatek. If there's a cord that's 3 times. A triple cord is not quickly broken.
3-strand rope.
3-strand rope, thank you. 3-strand rope. That's an expression. These 3, because they were set up like this, they're helping each other. Okay? They're supporting each other. Over here, you don't have the support system. It's all here, all. They're not... Nothing's getting as distributed. Here it is getting distributed, here not. So basically what happened was, the oiras came into these, the 10 oiras came into Keser. Keser took its own, took its or, and then went into Chachma. Chachma took its or, Bina took its or, and then you have the other 7 here. Now the rest of the 7 all went into Chachma. Okay? Now, Chachma was a smaller... Chesed, thank you. 2 problems.
So what do you mean the rest of the 7 went?
There's a bundle of 10, right? So the other 3 went into where they were supposed to go. But now the remaining 7 all try to go into Chesed. And there's 2 problems. Problem number 1 is Chesed is a small keli, not like these big ones. That's number 1. Number 2, he has no support. There's no help to support this weight of the 10 spheres. Crash.
So it's not only that the Kli tried, or maybe not at all, that the Kli tried to keep too much light, it's that the Or itself decided to stay there? Like, how come the Or didn't all try to stay on Keser?
Because Kesser got what he needed, so then the Oris have to go, it's like a puzzle.
Right,
The Oris have to go where they belong.
And then
so Kesser got what he needed, then it all went to Chachma. Chachma took what it needed, then it went into Bina. Bina took what it needed, and now it's trying to go down.
Yeah,
So now you have 7.
He's just asking, why didn't Chesed just take what it needed?
yeah. And then pass it on.
Well, so I'll tell you, it first has to contain all the Oris have to go into the
So
to the
it
Kli.
overloaded before it could even try and take it.
Right. As soon as they all 7 went into that one Kli, for two problems. Again, it was too small, and it had no support. It wasn't in that segel. So crash. Crash. What does that mean? So it means like this. It means that the or of Chesed went up. Okay, because or doesn't crash, or doesn't die, or doesn't. Again, this is all or.
In the Kli of Chesed right now, right?
We're talking about the Kli of Chesed.
Yeah,
okay. So the or of Chesed went up, because oros only go up, but the Kli broke, shattered, and fell. And then the same thing happens, and then so now you have the other 6 trying to get into their places. So then it goes down the next level to Gvura. Crash. So Gvura crashes, the or goes up, and the pieces fall. And etc., etc., etc.,
So
etc.
which Or went up? Just the Or that was designated for that.
So yes, that's right.
The other
So what ends up.
still trying going to mine.
Sorry.
Like the Chesed Or is like, oh, my Kli crashed, so it went upstairs.
So it goes up.
But then the other one's like, yeah, I'm gonna try. Because
Right.
my Kli's still-
Everyone try. Right.
My Kli hit, so I'm gonna try, and then it causes
Right.
an explosion and just get
Right. So what ends up happening is that these 3 are okay, but these 3 crash or break.
and
Kav
don't
Yochel.
have their light.
Sorry,
And don't have their
they don't have their light and they break. And I'm just going to skip ahead so you'll just understand the hashkafa of it. Okay, Ramchal says clearly that, but probably more than the Ramchal says, when these pieces shattered, they fell. Okay, it's called death actually in Kabbalistic language. It's called misa. You call it Misas HaMalachim also. These are called Malachim. I don't want to get too detailed now. This is a massive, like I said, it's a massive sugya. But basically, when these pieces crashed, they fell. Okay? The highest elements of them fell, and that place that they fell is going to be called the world of Atzilus. That was the highest, in other words, not all the pieces are equal. So the higher elements, the from the Kalim, the ones, in other words, it's hard to understand this, but different pieces have more light in them, even in the Kalim, even in the vessels. Yeah. So the highest elements, everything fell. The highest elements created the world of Atzilus. Then the pieces continued to fall. The next highest elements created the world of Bria. They continued to fall. The next highest elements created the world of Yetzira, and then the lowest elements created our physical world.
The highest element from each Svira all came together and
created those worlds.
And then the next level element
From these pieces, right? All these shattered pieces, as they fell, the highest of them created Atzilus. The next Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. Okay, and to make it a little bit more complicated, they all had a residue of the light of the or on the keli, like a shmek. They had some of this or smeared, right? Because it's not a good muscle, but if you have a keli and the keli is full of ketchup, and then it breaks, so all these little pieces are going to have a little ketchup on them.
Like these chips?
Right, like the chips. So what's going to happen is there's going to be sparks attached to these little pieces, and those are going to be called Rapach Netzoitzes, the 288 sparks. Okay, I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to give you too much info, but this is the sugya of shviras hakeylim. If you want to have a decent understanding of Chassidish Svarim, you have to have a basic understanding of shviras hakeylim.
Those four worlds together make up the Olam HaTikun?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So it's
Very
the
good.
Universe, it's
Very
Tikkun
good.
almost.
Right. It is. Very, very good. Very good. Right. And it's probably true also that certain pieces, for sure true, that certain pieces fell below the line. So Asiya is our world, but when they talk about a place, let's say called Gehenna or Hell, right? It's viewed as under. It's not a joke. It's not because of the Greek mythology, not Greek or the Christian mythology. It's not because of that. It's because the Arizal says that some pieces fell even lower than that, and that is the underworld or the world of evil or the world of etc. etc. When we that's called the world of Klipa, actually, if you want to know. When we daven Shachris, okay, when we start with Korbanos, this is why it's very important when you daven not to skip, okay? Some people say, when I come late to shul, the first thing I sacrifice is the Korbanos.
When I come to shul, the first thing I sacrifice is my coffee.
So anyway, but why am I telling you this? It's very important not to skip when you daven, because what's happening when you daven, okay, I'm getting off topic, but I can't resist. These 288 sparks there's 288 main category of these sparks that fell, okay? But there's billions, each spark has billions of sub-sparks, okay? The whole job of history, okay? Since Adam Harishon, the whole job of history is we go around, these sparks fell all over, these pieces fell everywhere in this world of Asiya. And our whole job is every time we go and make a bracha, with kavana hopefully, we elevate 1/1000th of one of those sparks. And this is a 6,000 year project, okay? That eventually, and you walk somewhere and you're thinking and learning, and you step on one of those sparks, you elevate that spark. And you smile at somebody in the morning, you make them feel good, there's a spark there too, and you're elevating. There's billions, whatever you're doing in Yiddishkeit, whatever, the whole Torah and mitzvahs was given to us as an oifen, as a way to elevate these sparks.
The best mikdash connected to these sparks?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. When all these sparks will be elevated and brought back to their source, the base of mikdash will be rebuilt. You can even view it. You can view it even if you like that every one of these sparks creates a brick, and every brick is a brick of the base of mikdash. If you want to simplify it in that way. Why did I get to this? There was a reason why I was. Huh?
You're talking about a classroom.
Big schmeck.
Oh yeah, right. Davening. We're talking about davening. It's very important not to skip when you daven. Why? Because when you start shachris in the morning and you say korbanos, you're taking those sparks from the klipa, from underneath, and you're bringing them to the world of Asiya. And then, actually it doesn't work that by tikkun chatzois, okay, listen, we got to do our best. I'm not trying to overwhelm you. By tikkun chatzois, they move from the klipa to Asiya, then we start korbanos, and they go from Asiya to Bria, then we get into, to Yetzira, then we say Psuka de Zimra, we take those sparks, we bring them into Bria, and then we say Berchas Krishma and Kriyashma, and we take those sparks and bring them into Atzilus, and Atzilus is our Shemona Esrei, and then that's where everything gets fixed. And then all the Shpa goes up, and Tachnun is part of that also, if when we say Tachnun. And then the Shpa comes down. Ashrei, Uvalatzion, Shir Shal Yoim, all these things bring down, it's a whole factory. You're bringing up all these pieces, everything's getting processed, and then all the bracha comes down, and there's a lot of people that they leave work, they leave davening, They ran out of davening after Shemon Esrei. Okay? So they've done everything perfect. They brought all the sparks up to be processed, and now all the bracha is going to come down. They're going to get all their parnasa. And what do? They take off their tefillin, they run out of shul, because they're late for work, they have to make parnasa. But they don't realize that if they would stay in shul, keep the tefillin on, and finish up the next 10 minutes, even if they rush it, that's when all the bracha, that work that you did, the whole shach is bringing it up, the bracha is coming down. In Ashrei Valitzion, Shir Shel Yoim, Kaveh, Aleinu Shebeach, that's when it all comes back. It all comes back to help you. It gives you all your hashpah.
When you have a brisket or a Sivsei Sheva, why is that the only time you're allowed to skip Tachnun? When you're not allowed to skip...
So this is a whole... Basically, the way it works is if there's a bris and there's no Tachnun, it means the bris accomplishes what Tachnun would have accomplished, and etc. etc. But I don't want to go too off topic. So that is shviras hakeylim, very quickly, very simply, and I hope I didn't goof it too much because we made it very, very simple and quick. But that's basically what shviras hakeylim is. Questions? Any questions? Okay, so we can. I think we should just start the parak. Hakdama Gimel. Shviras hakeylim. Boy is bar oifen shviras hakeylim. We will explain the way that the kelim were broken, the nefilas ha'oiros, and the falling of the light, the havas haklipois, the koiches hara, and the creation of the klipois and the forces of evil. Kedei sheyeh bechira v'schar v'oinish, in order that there should be bechira, free choice, schar v'oinish, reward and punishment. V'avoida sa'adam, and an avoida, the work of a man, spiritual work, lishtamesh be'asheva midas, to use his 7 midas, his 7 spheres in his body, in his soul, in his essence, l'shem shemayim, for the sake of Hashem, v'loy lehepech, and not the opposite. Now I'm just going to say it quickly, he made a very important point. Without this shviras hakeylim, there's no bechira, there's no free choice, because shviras hakeylim is going to create a concept called evil. Okay, if everything was great and happy and rosy, then and everything, there was no evil in the world, there'd be nothing to choose. So shviras hakeylim creates an opportunity to choose wrong, to make the wrong choices, and you can only make the wrong choices if there's good and evil. Either you choose good or you choose bad. So that's the only way that a person can have free choice, is if there's a creation of evil. Shviras hakeylim created evil, Ra. That's where evil comes into the world. Shviras hakeylim. We're on page Lamed Zayin. We'll start. Shviras hakeylim. Berishayna, in the beginning, kasher nivri hakeylim. When the vessels were created, shema eshes shviras, which are the eshes shviras, nichnasu kol ha'oiros l'soich hakli harishon. All of the oiros, all of the lights, went into the very first kli. V'ratza hakli lahachzik le'atzmoi gam es ha'oiros ha'tachtoinim she'enam shayachem l'chelkoi. And the Kli wanted to bring in all of the oiros, even the oiros that were not shaykh to him. In other words, let's say Chesed, he wanted all 7 for himself, even though what he was only supposed to take was 7, so to say. Since that first, he's referring here now to Chesed. Since Chesed could only handle his own or, and not the other 6, Hutzrich, Hutzrich lehis rachev, he was forced to widen, beyoiser, too much, kedei lekabel shara oiros. So it had to try to widen in order to accept all 7 oiros, lights, lechein lo haya yachol lesavlam. And it couldn't bear the weight. It could not handle them. V'nisbaka v'nishbar hakli v'nafal lamata. And the kli cracked and fell down. V'sha'ar oris yardi le'akeli shatachtav, and the other 6 oris went to the kli that was underneath him, which is going to be here, is going to be gevura. Chutz min ha'or ha'shayach l'kli harishon ba'atzmei shelo yarad lamata rak chazer lamala l'makoyroi. Except for that or of chesed, that doesn't go down. The oris only go up, so it goes back up into Adam Kadmon actually. So it goes in. Yeah.
So this does seem a little different than the way that I think we've been explaining.
That what?
Before. Because here it says that the cleave is a greedy or something.
Yeah.
The cleave tried to take too much. It's not that all 7 were too heavy for it and it exploded. It's that it actually tried to take all 7. It's not that all 7 were in transit that caused it.
It's true.
There's different.
No. What you're saying is true.
There's a geschmack language that's used in Sifsei Kabbalah for this, that Shaykh to Thornhill and whatever, which is each one of the shviras said, Ana Emlech.
I will rule. I will rule. So this is a big.
Is it too early for that? I mean,
It's not too early. The way that it's described here is the way it was.
maybe you're deliberately not saying that.
But then he says it, so we have to go what the Sefer, and the Sefer is saying the way it is. So yes, the way that we said it now is the correct way to express it. I don't want to get into too many details now, but correct. There is. Then we have to start talking about how can a sphere say "I want." What's a sphere? A sphere has its own entity. It does. We'll get into these. Im Yetz Hashem, we'll get in. Okay, we're out of time. Im Yetz Hashem, next week we'll go further. Im Yetz Hashem. Oh, Marav, we're gonna have a Marav? Do we have?
Yeah, my boys are coming also.
Good. Baruch Hashem. So we're gonna. I'll just say the announcement. We're gonna try now. Im Yetz Hashem from here on in. We're gonna be davening a Marav after my shir. And then Rabbi Avram Gisselson will begin his shir after Marav. Im Yetz Hashem.